Jimmy, who are all these elves delivering bags of popcorn?
You're talking about the elves on the shelves here, yeah.
Yes.
I think they hire these guys really cheap at Christmas.
Oh, so the cinema's just decked out with Christmas paraphernalia. Elves.
You bet it is. Actually, we went to Kingston Cinema like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and in Hampton, the Christmas stuff was overwhelming. Enormous tree. Yeah, they've really gone for it.
Christmas is everywhere, increasingly, all the time. Right after Halloween, it's Christmas.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed in this country only fairly recently, that it's Halloween now is the gatekeeper for Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. It's 1st of November, and that's it. It all comes out. It's all kind of very coordinated.
And then there are the Christmas films. Why?
But then Christmas films aren't just for Christmas these days. A Christmas film is not just for Christmas. Isn't there a Christmas movie channel? I think we have a Christmas movie channel in the UK.
Oh God, no.
Surely there must be something similar in the US.
Well, and it's a channel that exists year round.
I think so. Yeah, it just shows Christmas movies all year round.
Oh my God.
I mean, the thing that gets me is why are there so many Christmas movies? Because we don't see Easter movies so much. Or Thanksgiving movies, particularly. I mean, certainly not in the UK. Or summer holiday movies. I mean, yeah, that's a thing that exists, but no one's got a channel full of them. Yeah. Christmas movies are, by far and away the most prevalent, temporarily related theme of film. Yeah. Why do you think that is? I have a theory. I bet you have a theory as well. Tell me your theory.
Mine's short. Because capitalism.
Oh, God damn, that is my theory as well.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Elaborate, please.
It's all about producing product to sell. In the United States now, we talk about the shopping season, which is basically Thanksgiving to Christmas, but it's part of the economy is the shopping season. But I think it's just like creating toys, creating something that people can buy. And I think it's changed a little bit because I think there was a mall component previously where you'd go to see a Christmas movie at a mall and then you do some shopping. Now, we're buying more online, so it's not surprising that Amazon has a Christmas movie. So you'd go to Amazon Prime to watch a classic, an instant classic like Your Christmas or Mine, and then you'd probably stay on Amazon to buy some crap. So I think it's just about having more and more product to get people to buy in more and more stuff. But what's your theory?
Well, mine is capitalism with a very slightly different flavour. It's a kind of a Marxist reading of Christmas movies. I think the idea of movies is things have to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to do a movie about some time of the year where people can all get together and they can either argue or they can fall in love or they can have an adventure or they can try and rush to get to some place because they need to be in a place for a certain time.
Yeah.
There's a ticking clock and you've got to be arriving, in the family house in time for Christmas to all eat the dinner. My kind of observation of this is that because films are about things that happen to people, Christmas is a great time when things can happen to people because everybody's got a very brief period off work. We're all off work together. You can see your family or your friends. Events can happen in a way that they can't happen during the other 50 weeks of the year because you should be working.
Yeah.
I think it's emphasizing this notion that life is this thing that happens when you're not working. When you are working, you're not living, you're not alive, you are simply producing. So it's important that you produce for the oligarchs or the landowners or the wealthy or the owners of the means of production. So it's impossible for a story to happen during the other 50 weeks of the year because you're too busy working. If a story is going to happen, it's going to happen during these Christmas 2 weeks, which is your brief period away from the office or away from the factory. So I think it's a symptom of an underlying feeling that life is about work and any other bits of life have to be squeezed in between work. I think that's why Christmas movies happen, because Christmas is the only time when there's enough time for things to happen in people's lives.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Whereas if we all just kind of worked part-time, apparently, I must have told you this before, medieval man apparently only worked about 1,000 hours a year.
Ooh.
Whereas a 40-hour week is 2,000 hours a year. So medieval humans worked half as much as we did.
Yeah.
Which is why they had so much time for folk music and writing poems and putting on plays.
Yeah. I think your theory is an invitation for the Marxist bots to start contacting us.
I'm not sure there are very many Marxist gods, strangely.
I'm sure in this day and age there have to be some, and I look forward to welcoming them to the Two Real Cinema Club.
The algorithm will find us somehow. Yep. So have you got any favorite Christmas movies? What are your favorite? Considering there's so many blooming Christmas movies, they fill a whole channel with them. What are your favorite Christmas movies?
Okay, I will. The short answer is we just did a long pod on It's a Wonderful Life, which is hands down the best. But your children, who shall not be named, don't think it's a Christmas movie. But here's what I learned when I just even started thinking about this. I hate Christmas, and the stories where it's going to be canceled are the ones that are exciting to me. I realize this about myself. Or the ones that are going to go horribly wrong. So things like I'm going to start with some animated classics and some stop-motion animation stuff. I love Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from 1964.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Year Without a Santa Claus from 1974. I love the Charlie Brown Christmas, which
completely passed me by.
Is accompanied by a great Vince Guaraldi score, so the music in that one's fantastic as well. Did I mention? Oh, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which is a Dr. Seuss story, 1966, not the thing with Jim Carrey in the early 2000s.
It's an animated version from 1966.
Yeah. So those are, those are 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 animated or stop motion. My wife was watching Elf the other night, which is Will Ferrell from 2003, which is actually pretty funny and a pretty good story. And then the last one I'll mention quickly is Home for the Holidays, which is 1995. It's an interesting film. It's actually sort of more of a Thanksgiving, but it does include Christmas as well, film, directed by Jodie Foster. Written by this guy named W.D. Richter, who wrote Buckaroo Banzai. And the cast, we were talking about casting, how it can make such a big difference. I'll read some names to you. Holly Hunter, Anne Bancroft, Robert Downey Jr., Charles Durning, Dylan McDermott, Claire Danes, Steve Guttenberg, Geraldine Chaplin, and David Strathairn.
My God, what an incredible cast.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
It's just about holiday going wrong, and I just love that. So the theme for me is it's better if Christmas is under threat or just disaster, and I love a lot of the animated stuff, and then those two live action ones are a couple of my favorites. Really, love Home for the Holidays and It's a Wonderful Life. But tell me, you've got cheerier choices that your whole family enjoys.
Not so humbuggy from me, I think. But I've assembled like a top 3. There's some that didn't make it. There's a Nightmare Before Christmas, which is kind of more about Halloween than Christmas, really. But it's a Christmas movie, and we watched Coraline for the first time when we were on holiday a few weeks ago, and that's so fantastic. Looking back, I want to kind of catch up with all those kind of Henry Selick animated pictures. Yeah. In Bruges, I don't know whether you've seen that, which is kind of hitmen go to Northern Europe for Christmas. Yeah. And the film it's not quite as clever as I think it thinks it is, but it's a fun kind of slightly different take on Christmas. Yeah. But my Christmas movies are a little bit more upbeat. So I've assembled a top 3. Okay. And number 3, While You Were Sleeping, which is also the title of my book about anesthesia that I will probably one day write. But it's, that's set at Christmas, and again, why is that so great? It's the cast. It's Sandra Bullock falls in love with Bill Pullman. Who wouldn't? I love both of those two. Yeah. Bill Pullman, I think, is a vastly underrated actor. I find him so watchable. Just great. And Sandra Bullock totally gets it. Directed by John Turteltaub, who just come off Cool Runnings, which is another kind of real feel-good comedy. Went on to make the National Treasure pictures. So I don't know whether maybe that's a blot on his copybook. That's National Treasure is like a guilty pleasure in this house. Okay. It's like it's the Da Vinci Code for stupid people, isn't it? And the Da Vinci Code isn't particularly clever either. Written by Frederick Lebeau, who I looked him up. He wrote While You Were Sleeping and wrote nothing else. He's one of those people who appears on IMDb with basically a single credit. And I wonder how his career panned out. Was that he got sick of it or just couldn't get any other projects made? But that's a lovely comedy. That's quite sweet. Okay. I haven't seen it for many years, so I don't know whether I would watch it again now. And you'll find, as with many of these kind of early 2000s comedies, it turns out it's really shockingly racist or something, and very embarrassing. But in my memory, it's a perfect little Christmas comedy. Number 2, very predictable. I'm going to roll together Die Hard and Die Hard 2, both of which happen at Christmas. Yeah. Basic plot of Die Hard: Bruce Willis kills some people, and then in Die Hard 2, he comes back and he kills some more people. But
great Christmas sentiment there.
Written by such superstars. So Die Hard was written by Jeb Stewart, who then did The Fugitive not long after, which is such a great classic. And Stephen D'Souza, who had written Commando and Running Man and like some of those real kind of classic, cheesy, archetypal 80s sort of action pictures, which I still have a tremendous weakness for. Mm-hmm. And then Die Hard 2, also written by Stephen D'Souza, but he brought in Doug Richardson, who went on to write Bad Boys. So a great deal of cheesy gags and guys with guns. But you know what? It's set at Christmas. Yeah. Die Hard is one of those movies where, if it comes on TV, I will always sit down and watch it till the end. It's just kind of a little bit irresistible. I can remember when Die Hard was originally reviewed on British television. We might have talked about this before, that Barry Norman was like the BBC film reviewer at the time, who was the nation's guru. If Barry Norman gave you a good review, then you were set in the UK, and if he gave you a bad review, nothing could save you. Yeah. And I remember watching his review of Die Hard, and he said it was such a shame that Bruce Willis had spent more time working on his muscles than on his character, something like that. Yeah. Which is a shame, because you look back and you think, no, actually, the characters in Die Hard are actually really watchable. So that was a miss from Barry Norman. He missed the target. Ooh. My number 1 film, though, and I'd be interested to know whether you have seen or even heard of this film. There is a British comedy Christmas film which every school child in the country has probably seen 10, 12, 15 times, because it is the film that British primary school teachers put on to keep the class quiet in those final few lessons before they break up for Christmas. So I know my children have seen this film at least 10 times. I've only seen it the once, but it holds a special place in my heart because my children know pretty much every line and every gag and every song from the film. The film is called Nativity. Have you heard of it?
No, Nativity. So, what year is it?
It's about 2005, I think, something like that. Martin Freeman plays this exasperated primary school teacher who is told to kind of put on a nativity play, and he writes this kind of new musical, and none of the kids really cooperate, and they're all getting it wrong, and it's kind of hilarity ensues. But it's a very, very sweet film that's become like a bit of the national fabric in this country. I think it will become the It's a Wonderful Life of the future for children who are primary school age children now, because it will have been seen by them so many times. Yeah. It's got it's really memorable score, these kind of songs that go through your head again and again, some good gags, and it's got this non-professional cast of school children. It's it's like social realism, whatever. It's like The Bicycle Thief or something like that. It's these kids are just being themselves. It's absolutely fantastic. It's when you see the kind of the children's scenes, it's more like a documentary than a comedy or a drama. It's just these little children being themselves.
Is it like officially part of the national curriculum, or is it just something that's?
It should be. I bet it's been read and interpreted more closely by all the children in this country than To Kill a Mockingbird has. Yeah, it's written and directed by Debbie Izzet. Okay. Who had previously made some little pictures, and this kind of sort of made her name. I'm not sure what she's gone on to do. There were 2 sequels. There is a Nativity 2 and a Nativity 3, and they did great box office in this country. But I strongly suspect that it is so peculiarly British it has no international presence at all.
Oh well, all right.
So I'm guessing you even though you also work as a teacher, hasn't passed under your nose.
No, I haven't seen it, but I have vacation coming up, as you mentioned. So until we live in a like a more Marxist culture, I'll have plenty of time to watch your list of 3 or 4 films. I guess you're getting Die Hard 1 and 2 in there. Yeah, we'll have plenty of time to watch some films over the break.
Okay, we're getting a Christmassy spirit. Yeah.
I think you've done a better job probably of getting into the spirit than I have, but
You've gone to the humbug.
Film will help me find a way. Film will help me, I think.
Yeah, well, if nothing else, at least you get to see Bruce Willis kill people.
Yeah, that's the Christmas spirit for me.
Well, I think the elves have come up with the popcorn. Here we go.
All right.
We should
Let's dig in.
eat that popcorn.